Good afternoon, everybody. Look, before I... Whoops. I should know all about that. Before I start, I'd like to do what a lot of other people have done and really thank the funding body for the opportunity that has been presented to us. It's been fantastic. It's been a journey for us, but it's been a good one and a very positive one. I'd also just like to acknowledge the work of the rest of the team. I have Denise Burdett-Jones over here, who's been our project officer, done a fantastic job. Michelle Koziak, yes, there you are, who undertook the liaison role with us this year. That'll make more sense in a few minutes. Krishna Heffernan, who's the academic coordinator of our Indigenous support unit at ACU. Gail Baker, who's our clinical coordinator, and Professor Sue Kilday, who's been a fantastic mentor for us. Oh, off we go. So our project was around a course that we have at ACU, an away from base Bachelor of Midwifery program. And the program started about 4 years ago with the express purpose of bringing more Indigenous midwives into the workforce. Oh, starting to get anxious now. Okay, so it's run, as it says, in away from base mode, which means that the students primarily study by distance in often regional, rural and often remote settings. They're brought onto our campus in Brisbane for 4 residentials a year, usually beginning and end of the semester. And then between times they're connected to the campus via an online, environment. So, and these are, well, this is not all of our students. We've got a cohort of 15, so it's a very small program. That's about 11 of them, plus Michelle's there, and another member of staff, Glenys. So we have 15 students, and they come from all sorts of places. We've got some from the Northern Territory, North Queensland, Central Queensland, Southwest Queensland, and Central New South Wales. I think that covers almost close enough. So it's a terrific program. We're very proud of it, but it hasn't been without its challenges, and this is where the funding provided us with a fabulous opportunity. That we've had 2 primary challenges around the program, and those have been, firstly, keeping the students connected to the program when they're away from base. That's been a challenge. It's been a bit tricky because when the students are at home in their home communities, life can get in the way if you haven't got your study right in front of you every day. The second challenge was ensuring that the students meet their registration requirements because they're studying away from base in their home communities, their primary clinical placements are in their home setting, which is often rural and regional and remote. So that's has been some challenges. And so all that combined to lead us to a picture where, we're having some difficulties progressing some of the students in a timely way. So our funding was around 2 enhancement strategies specifically related to those challenges. And the first of those was the provision of an additional tertiary placement in Brisbane so that would give the opportunity, students the opportunity to meet their registration requirements if they needed to do that. And the funding was around, and I heard other people say this, it's so important, the funding was around enabling us to accommodate the students here in Brisbane for an additional week, so the placement was attached to their residential, and to keep them fed and all those sorts of expenses that go along with being away from home. And before I go any further, I just want to acknowledge and also thank Donna Bonney and Karen White and Mel Barlow, who 2 of them are sitting there in the audience, from Mater Health Services, who not only provided the placements for us, but really worked alongside us to make it the success that it was. Very grateful, thank you. Our second strategy was to create a role that we called Indigenous Liaison Midwife, and essentially that role, the core purpose of that role was to keep the students connected to the campus between the 2 residentials. And Michelle did that in a variety of ways, Skype, phone, text, etc. And also that role in that connection She was able to provide some program-specific support for the students, some cultural support as well, and it really enhanced having her working with us, really enhanced the relationship or the connection between the students and the academic staff and improved the advocacy. At least that was the intention. I'm preempting some of our findings, sorry about that. So overall, we've been really, really pleased with our outcomes. Mind you, we weren't without a lot of challenges along the way, and I was really, really heartened to hear so many people say, well, we had this idea, but we came along this roadblock, and we had our own roadblocks, but we got there in the end, which was fantastic. But overall, the students, we did a bit of the data analysis was around student and staff focus group data. I've only got into the analysis of the student focus group data at the moment, and that has been overwhelmingly positive for both of our enhancements. The staff focus group data is looking that way, but as I said, we're still working on that one. We also collected survey data at the end of residentials and around the clinical placement opportunities as well. But essentially, it's been overall very positively received, our 2 enhancements. Also, the funding allowed us to be to have a dedicated role that enabled us to be much more active in liaising with our clinical, training providers in those often remote settings. And that linkage and that increased collaboration has been fantastic for us and for the opportunities it's enabled for the students. So just to look specifically on the 2 enhancements and some of the impacts of that. The first is about positive impact. I can see Michelle laughing at that comment. The positive impact, very positive impact, has been on the student outcomes, and this is down to the support that's really been able to be provided by Michelle in her role. So not only has there been increased advocacy and the strength of having someone who inside the program who really gets it, and that's the message that came very strongly to us from the students, was so important to those students. But in particular, the very active role that Michelle played in keeping the students connected into the program during those 2 residentials. And the quote there says it all. I won't read it all to you, but she says she won't give up on us no matter how much you try to ignore her. She's there, she's really good. And that's been really important. That would be a message that all the students would support. They said to me just the other week, gosh, she's such a nag, Paula, but gee, we need it. So it's fantastic. We had a look also at, when we put in for the funding, we had some concerns about our students' progression, and we had some significant failure rates that were just not acceptable, really. Semester 2, I've got there, we had 22% of our students failed 1 or more subjects, and simply because they became disconnected with the program, that they weren't able to keep up with their milestones. And we also had a significant number of students withdrawing from the program during the semester. And so we're really proud, I'm really proud to be able to report that in semester 1, our percentage of students failing 1 or more subjects dropped to 15%. We're still waiting on the data for semester 2, but I'm predicting that'll be 10% or lower, and it is our ongoing goal to drive that percentage down as low as possible. And as I said, the key there is really in keeping that connection active. We've also seen a decrease in the number of students withdrawing from subjects, so they stay in the subject and connected to the subject, which has been really, really important. We're proud of this achievement as well. And we've got a picture there of 4 of our students. Charisse, who's second from your right, graduated mid-year, so we're very proud of that. And the other 3 are on track to graduate at the end of 2013 or shortly thereafter. And so it's really been as a direct result, I think, of these enhancements that has enabled that. The connection, keeping the students connected in their subjects, but also the additional placement opportunities that enabled the students to meet registration requirements for midwifery has been significant. And you can see that reflected in the quote there from one of our students. The students talked very positively about their placement, how it was so different to the context in which they've been receiving their other placements, and it really was an opportunity to bring it all together for them. They found it very, very worthwhile. So, where to from here? haven't got a ding yet. I'm getting a bit worried. Where to from here? Well, we're feeling very chuffed with our success so far, and we've got big plans for the course, I think. I guess the overall most positive, not the most positive outcome, but one of the things that's been so important to me as I was preparing for this presentation and thinking about where to from here is that what we've achieved, apart from those outcomes, is we've really achieved a strengthening of the relationships within the program. So between myself and the staff in the school, with the students, with the Wamala unit, there's a really strong relationship that's going to be really important ongoing. And so we have plans to grow that collaboration, and that's going to be the key to more success, I think. We lobbied hard with our Dean. I've been lobbying her for a while. But we've lobbied hard, and she's approved a new lecturer in midwifery. That's an Indigenous identified position, which is really important. But even more importantly, that sounds, lecturer, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly is that inside that PD for that position is embedded the cultural and support aspects that we were able to trial or, within this project. And that has been fantastic. And I'm very pleased to be able to report that. We've been asking it for a while, but it's really good to have the evidence there to show her of the positive impact that it had. We've managed to identify some ongoing faculty funding to keep the clinical placement going at least for 2014, which is terrific. Thanks again to Karen and Mel for their ongoing support in that as well. And our next thing to do is one thing we found when we're talking to the students is there was really no easy avenue for them to network together as a program cohort. So one of the next jobs for us to do is to put together a dedicated site where the students can own it, get inside it and network with each other and with the staff. So that is the next step from here. And that's it. Did I come in under time? It's gone like a rocket. Thank you.